There was an obese woman who ran the...
Stop that woman. I wanted to forget about her.
And Leo kept referring to her as an it, which was...
Oh, yeah, well, I said to Dan, it's probably the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life. I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, I'm going to describe this woman. It was a woman, you said, because of her voice, right? But
she was very nice, but yes, it was a woman.
I'm going to have to hold my mic like this because it's falling off this. But so she was 450 pounds.
I can't deny that.
She was
bigger than Fez.
Okay, so she had like...
She was bigger than Fez, right?
Way bigger than Fez. Would have... If it was a sumo wrestling match, you're out of that fucking circle quick, dude.
You're going to have to commit seppuku, too, dude.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't think you can with seppuku because you got too big of a gut.
So this woman... okay, so she had three... Okay, a stomach that was like extended beyond like probably a foot and a half from her waist, and it had like chunks, so it was like indented. It was indented, and then she had not one. She had the two tits, but then there was a third chunk of fat that looked like three tits. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you can imagine. Now she was so fat that I saw her going up. There was like 3 steps to each little motel, like little room. There were 3 steps, so she had to go one at a time. She was like cleaning these motels, and she ran the place. And guys, she had a buzz cut, and she had a beard.
Wow. Fez, I think you should go out there and make a love connection, dude.
Dude, this woman it was obviously like some kind of, because of her obesity, maybe like there's hormonal changes and shit. Whatever happened to this woman, I mean, I don't know how you could be uglier than this woman. She was a beast. I
saw the Inner Beauty. Yeah, I had my Shallow Hal moment where I saw her as a 115-pound cheerleader. She was very nice.
I'm sure she was nice.
She was very helpful. Did it make you feel
better about how fat you are, Leo?
It did. It made me feel a lot better. Dude, to be honest, I mean, everywhere I went, the women in that town were just, I was pretty much the most beautiful thing they've ever seen in their lives.
That's probably why the guys were giving you looks. They were just these fucking dudes from LA are going to come here and fuck all my...
That's what the Tampa guy told me. He's like, man, if you hang around here another couple of days, some guy's going to accuse you of running off with his chick, dude, and try to kill you. That's what the guy told me in the supermarket. And I was like laughing. But yeah, I was like, me and Danny, Danny was also, and we went to like the pool when in this little town, we just like took it over. And there was this like these little, like these children, they were like, Mom, you found yourself a husband. And it was pretty wild to be in this little town. But yeah, it was that person was the ugliest person ever. But that motel, just to give it some credit, was not bad. Good Wi-Fi too.
Well, it was okay. It could have been better. But Austin, you bring up that lady made Leo feel good about his fatness. Mm-hmm. You did being out there. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Even being in jail was like one of the richer experiences of my life. Yeah, because you see not only all these people who don't have the advantages that we have. I mean, a lot of these guys, they would get locked up and they didn't have a single fucking soul in their life that they could count on. Yeah. They get that one phone call, and if they don't know the number of somebody who can help them at that moment, they're in jail until their trial. Right. And some of these guys were saying that was months even. Right. So that's made me rethink. In the past, I always thought it's like, hey, if you commit a fucking serious crime, you should be locked up. No gray area, tough on crime. Right. But now after seeing these guys who, if you or I committed the same crime, we would be out and fighting it right away. But because they are born into these families that they didn't choose, they are in there for months or years. Yes. And then also like during my court date, which I don't think we're going to talk about too much, there was a guy who went up there who was just like a humble Eastern Tennessee guy, and he just looked so sad, and he was on disability. I could see he had a limp, and he was about my age, and they asked him to pay $600 in like traffic tickets or some sort of fine, and he said he only drew $900 a month and therefore couldn't pay for it. Mm-hmm. And I just looked at this poor guy, and he just looked so without hope. Yeah. And just life had just kicked the fuck out of this guy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you could tell him to pick himself up by his own bootstraps, but like he doesn't even know the definition of the word boot. Yeah, it's not a perfect analogy, but some of these people are so they're just it's like I don't know, you're telling them to climb a mountain and they're born in the 7th ring of Dante's hell. Right, like they just. Yeah, so I mean, just seeing all of that made me rethink, I guess, a lot of my big city snobbery.
Yeah, it was a humbling experience to see kind of that. I went in and sat in on the court, and it was, you got these guys, like you could tell they didn't really know how the system worked. You know, but like there were 5 guys lined up, and 4 of them were like representing myself. And it's obviously, it's like even assigned a public defender, you're gonna have a better chance at representing.
And they're free.
Yourself.
And they're free.
Right.
Like, but it's just like these guys didn't have a dad or haven't even had access to enough television to know that, like, always don't represent yourself in court. Some guys were representing themselves, and there were guys up there that, like, one guy dropped a couple F-bombs on the stand, and you could just like see the court like, come on, dude. You're why are you making this so hard on yourself? Like,
no doubt there was somebody in that jail that was spending years there that if they were here in LA, I'm pretty certain they would be kind of out in like a couple of weeks,
crime.
Right? For the same crime,
100%,
right?
yeah.
100%. There's a guy in Tennessee, in Virginia, doing jail time for years.
Yeah.
That if they were here in the Los Angeles, they would not be doing jail time for.
You're so right. Yeah.
It's scary that they could just take a couple of years out of your life. I have a different outlook about, you know, the justice system. 100%.
I mean, in LA, I'm pretty confident that if I walked up to a cop and I just took a deep rip off a meth pipe and said, skeet, skeet, motherfucker, and blew it out, like, I'm pretty sure I would be out the next day. Like,
100%.
If I even went to jail at all.
It'd be a misdemeanor.
If it wasn't just like, hey, get lost, kid. Yeah, it might even just be I mean, dude, in San Francisco, we saw, I mean, you can do fucking fentanyl on the street and the cops won't do anything.
Right.
So on second thought, I'm pretty confident that we could all go just like, we could do, instead of Edward 40 hands, like fucking Edward meth hands. and we could just be smoking meth in the Tenderloin and not get in any trouble.
Damn.
Well, my cellmate got caught with some fucking meth on him, and that was it, dude. He's doing like a year.
Yeah, can you imagine getting, I mean, that doesn't even, it's not fair, number one. It doesn't seem fair, but I guess life isn't fair. But I mean, everybody was just like, yeah, they don't mess around here. This is Rogersville. This is Tennessee. This is Virginia. Everybody was used to these kind of ideas that you could just be put away for a year for a pretty minor thing.
And maybe, I mean, it's probably, if you're raising a family and stuff, I'm sure you're very grateful for that.
Yeah.
So it's a really complex thing. Just like every political issue, it's super complex.
Yeah.
Which is why I can't stand. I mean, it's Republicans and Democrats, but mostly it's Democrats that they can't even fathom somebody being a Republican because they see Democrat and Republican as good and evil.
Right.
Everything Republicans do is fucking evil. Everything Democrats do is good.
Right.
I can't stand that view of the world because it's so nuanced.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that we learned on this trip. Is one of them is, guys, you got to have an emergency fund. You know, an emergency fund. If you go to jail for something that you didn't expect to go to jail for, I think like you got 10 grand, I would say at least, right? Like to be able to like get yourself out of a funky situation.
Austin, you got your 10 G's ready to go? Fez, you got 10 G's?
Dude, I got to pay rent tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. None of you, like, nobody has 10 G's. Not a lot of people have 10 G's to throw at a problem. But guys, that's
not what we threw at it. But
no, it's not what we threw. But we're still gonna have to do a tour for the legal fees, right?
What's that?
I mean, we're still going to do a tour for the legal fees?
We might do a little tour. But I mean, I paid my lawyer, and he did a great fucking job. He's still doing a great job. But I mean, it's costly. If you want good representation to defend yourself, you got to have some fucking money.
You got to have some money, absolutely. So it was terrifying to think that my boy could have been thrown in jail for years for something.
So what happened with the actual court date?
I don't want to talk about that too much, just because I don't know if I'm allowed to. Mm-hmm. But I mean, things should be okay. It should be okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just not gonna get into it too much.
Okay.
But
there was a lot of anxiety before it. You know, I mean, I was joking around about being like, yeah, you know, what if this happens? What if that happens? And I had to stop doing that because it was kind of like insensitive of me to do that to Danny. So it was very serious. I can say that, and it was terrifying.
Yeah,
it was terrifying.
Well, like at this point, are you still facing like possible jail time, or are you just trying to get it?
We're not going to talk
expunged
about
at this point?
We're not going to talk about it.